You know, I can't remember when I first heard about it, but I know that the minute I heard about it, I was so intrigued and I was so fascinated by the red clipboards that they used in the courtroom. It's been just a very, very effective organization.
It's almost become, it empowers the volunteers who are carrying it. When volunteers will come to the office and get ready to go into whatever case they're assigned to that morning or that afternoon, they'll say, oh, I forgot my clipboard, and we loan them one because they don't feel like they can go in without that symbol of that they're there for the public and for purpose. So it became really kind of a badge of what we're about, and also in a funny way, almost a shield.
Dee went through a watch training several years ago, and then came back in about 2005, and she brought Hal with her. And I remember the training, and the two of them talking very honestly and earnestly about how much they wanted to work to end domestic violence particularly. I first learned about watch when I was working as an advocate at the Sexual Violence Center in Hennepin County, and read about watch with interest, but really didn't get involved in the organization again until 2004 when I applied to be the executive director. I think that it has a really clear mission, and it continually looks back at, I think, its history. What is the reason that we're here? What's the goal? What action should we take that's really going to help bring about this mission? So it seems like there's a lot of reflection within the organization.
I think there's the advocacy, but I think the core of watch, from my perspective, is the court monitoring, that there's somebody there paying attention.
Really, I think, makes a difference in the court system to know that you folks are out there watching what we're doing.
Well, I feel like Watch is an organization that is working at both individual systems change by just talking to an individual judge or probation officer or prosecutor or defense attorney, or by sending an email, a letter, but sometimes also the information that is gathered by court monitors that are working with Watch is used to create systems change in a larger base.
But as we stand here today, we got to make sure that the promise of a just society doesn't waver. They have to be steady and they have to be reliable, and that means we have to have a commitment to justice all the way around. When we come here today, we have to affirm this commitment and say that yes, we have to have safe community, and we also have to have due process of law within our court system. These two values are not in conflict with each other. They actually...
Watch is a court monitoring organization, similar to what MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, is to drunk driving. That was really how it's the concept. It's grown to be much more than that. We do research projects, we have public information sessions, we run judicial candidates forums, but our primary hands-on piece is the court monitoring. We train volunteers to go into the courtrooms and monitor cases of violence against women and children, sexual assault, domestic violence, child abuse, and child sexual abuse.
Yeah, I remember I think it was 1992, Watch came out with a lengthy report about issues that they were seeing in the criminal justice system. One of them was one that we took, it's again, the system players took it for granted, and here it is. Somebody would be convicted of a crime, and the day of sentencing would arrive, and let's say the sentencing is scheduled for 9 o'clock in the morning. The lawyers wouldn't sit down at the table in the courtroom at 9 o'clock. They would straight go back to the judges' chambers. And maybe 30 minutes or 40 minutes later, all the participants would come out into the courtroom, and then the judge would ask both sides if they had anything to say, and they'd say, no, Judge, I'll rely on what I said in chambers. So all they knew is that it seemed like a decision coming out of a smoke-filled room where only limited participation was involved. So victims didn't see this, family members didn't see this, and Watch pointed this out, and they said it just looks bad for a number of reasons, and I think it's worked better for me. Not everybody's changed it, but that was a specific recommendation out of that early 90s report.
And so you have really taught me to be considerate of the people who are waiting, let them know if their case is going to be heard or it was continued an hour ago and we forgot to tell you. That has really helped me a lot to treat the families of the defendants, the families of the victims, better as far as telling them what's going on in the courtroom. So that's what I have to tell you, is that you're so important to us, and I'm so grateful that you folks exist.
I think it's a tendency to just become so overwhelmed with the complexity and the enormity of like the criminal justice system, that organizations say, well, how could we possibly make a dent and really change that system? And yet I think we're a great example that it can happen. And I feel very proud about our participation in getting the felony strangulation law passed in 2005. I feel really proud that Watch helped to make the fatality review team a possibility when it did, that the staff at that time had the knowledge and the wherewithal to pull that together, and then let that become part of a different organization. Let the county take that on and say, this is your responsibility, you look at this. So I'm really pleased of our role in that and what has come of that, and one of the things is that the domestic felony strangulation law. I'm also very proud of, I think, the changes that have occurred in some of the courts, like the domestic violence court, that when we've talked to people about changing the tone in that courtroom, it has just in the 5 years I've been there. I think it's an extraordinary difference. And it's not, again, it's not just us, but we've voiced our opinion and we've put it out there, and that has made a difference.
Women being abused in their homes should not be turned away at the Domestic Abuse Service Center downstairs because there's nobody there to help them write their petition.
You know, my passion goes back a long ways. My mom was a battered housewife, and it was really, really bad. And I lived through that as a youth, and so this is an opportunity for me to get my feet to work, my mind to work, and work on that. And it's a privilege to do that. There was no justice for my mom in the 40s and 50s. So this is a real thing for me. It's a real thing for me. What's interesting to me is that over the years, you know, we all have things we could do. You could be on committees here and boards there, and you go back to your bed at night and think, what the heck difference did it make? But you know, with this, I'm feeling we're making a difference. I really think we are.